Hey, what's up, good people? You are tuned into another episode of Fatherhood. It's Dope, the podcast. It's your guy, Aaron McGee. And man, I have a special guest joining us today, Sir Jeff Johnson. And I say sir because you got to put some respect on this name because this brother has done it all. Yes, sir. I mean, Jeff has been an executive producer and creator of shows for BET. He's published political and social commentary for CNN, The Root, Fox News, the list goes on. He's one of the first dads and brothers that I've talked to that actually interviewed President Barack Obama while in office. Yes, sir. At least my favorite president, right? And most importantly, what qualifies him for this platform is the brother is the father of 5 beautiful children and the husband of one amazing wife. Ladies and gentlemen, especially you dads, give it up for brother Jeff Johnson. Jeff, what's good?
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me on, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming.
Introduction was way too kind.
You know something? You said it was way too kind, Jeff. All right, so this is what I do. I listen. Everybody who watches my stuff, they listen to me. They know I show up as I am, right? And when I realized I was having you on a podcast, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, this is Jeff Johnson. You a big deal in my world. And I'm going to get into I get into a little backdrop, but as a student of communication, I mean, it's Jeff Johnson, especially graduating from an HBCU, Tennessee State University. You know, I've been tracking and following your career and more importantly to me, your impact in the field of communication for over a decade and some change now, man. So you said it was kind. I was just trying to be brief, like, sheesh, you guys, it's too much. It's too much to say. But I wanted to hit some highlights.
There, brother. You know what's funny is, I think that's why I never like bios.
Yeah.
Because as people are celebrating your bio, you sitting there listening to them read all of this stuff, thinking, "Damn, if they only knew the stuff that's not bio." Yeah. And so I'm just always conscious of how I'm trying to grow and where I have improvements to make and what my character flaws are. And that's a sickness of mine because it doesn't mean we can't acknowledge the amazing things that we have done.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I've recognized over the years, especially engaging young people, that sometimes they get so caught up in your bio, they never want to understand your process and your journey. And so that's one of my sicknesses, brother, one of my issues. So, Aaron, I appreciate you, man.
Well, here's the deal. See, we're going to break all that down, but I could not have you on the show without at least letting the kids, the dads, the whomever know the caliber of guests that I have. Now, we're going to break it down when we start to talk about the dynamics of fatherhood. So I completely respect it. And I've had my bio read once or twice, and I know it is cringe worthy. And I'm like, if you only knew. So I can definitely relate to that, man. You know, what's so interesting, Jeff, is you've been on the scene in media and doing communications for years now. And you know, I became a father in 2017, and when I became a dad, I started to creep into this dad space and understanding and looking at other guys, men who were in the game and who was contributing. And to my surprise, man, I found out that you have been a leading contributor in this space of fatherhood. And I know you have some content out right now on blacklove.com, and you've been a father you're for some time now. We're going to get into the dynamics of your kids, but I just want to know, outside of being a dad, like, you have so many other things to do in this industry. Why wear the mantle of fatherhood in the way that you've done?
I'm sorry, brother. I forgot that I even had a landline.
Oh, you still got one of those?
Man, listen, fuck about kids I got, man. I got to be able to make sure that there's a connection at all times.
I feel it.
Safety issue more than it is anything else. No, I mean, what's interesting, brother, is I was a father before I ever got into media. So I had my daughter just turned 21 this past weekend.
I saw
And
that on Instagram.
so in 1999, I was a entry-level employee at the Youth and College Division of the NAACP. So, you know, being in the NAACP, and you can't, Aaron, where you from? Are you from Nashville?
No, I mean, I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi, been in Nashville since I was 10. So
The
Nashville
way.
is home.
Being from Jackson and being from Nashville, you understand culturally what the NAACP means to especially a certain segment of our community.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately, National Youth Director in the NAACP, as my daughter was 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, being a father, navigating being a national leader, it wasn't there. It wasn't segmented, right? So I was a father, and
Yeah.
so when I came media space, already having a child and getting ready to have another child, the beauty of my entry into media is, and I always I cannot thank Big Tigger enough. When Stephen Hill, who was the former president of entertainment for BT,
Yep.
me did I want to come on the air, I had never thought about being on TV. I was an activist, and I thought I was a very serious one. And as a result of that, I wasn't sure I wanted to be on BT.
Yeah.
And he asked me, listen, you know, I love your energy. I think you're great. I think you would be great for the demo. I'd love to put you on 106 in Park or Rap City, but I don't know how. And 106 was really on the rise at that point, becoming the most popular show on the network. And Live in the Den was the staple
Yep.
kind of show. Tigger had really created this legacy as a part of Rap City, but 106 was that juggernaut that everybody was trying to watch. And I was like, yo, I can't do 106. Like, I'm like, y'all yelling on that joint from the time they get on the show to the time they get off. They are yelling. It's like being in a anybody who's ever been in an urban radio studio understands what it is, right? Because like if you go into an urban radio studio and you're talking to the DJ and he's like, hey man, you good? What's going on? Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. Hold up 1 second, I'm about to go on. Yo, what's up? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
This is not conversational tone.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to perform, right? And I felt like 106 Park would have been performing. Rap City as my first television. I didn't study journalism. I wasn't in communications. I was a political science major.
Yeah.
So none of it was innate to me. I learned how to communicate doing panels and talking to people on the ground in communities and having real relationships with people in the NAACP and, you know, formerly being a Black Student Union president, a president of student government. Like that was where I learned to communicate. It wasn't this formal kind of industry driven communication mechanism or style. And the beauty of Tigger was that I was never really talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Tigger and I were having a conversation.
Yeah.
So Tigger we were in the basement, right? Like this literally was supposed to be his house. And so everything about it was authentic, was conversational, was engaging, was transparent. And I actually had the blessing of being asked to come on TV to be me. That was powerful, Aaron, because I didn't have to be a caricature. Yeah. I wasn't being asked to read a script. I wasn't being scripted. I had total editorial control of whatever I wanted to talk about. And I had a brother in Tigger who actually valued the stuff that I was talking about. So he validated me to an audience. Yeah. And that was powerful, man. So I say all that to say that I never had to disconnect any part of me. in my foundational engagement to communication and entertainment. And so at every stage of what I've done, I've been able to carry me as a husband, me as a father, me as a divorcee, me as somebody in love, me as somebody engaged, me as somebody being married, me as a new father. I've always been able to carry who I am, and I've recognized that the strength of my audience is not that it's the biggest, not that I'm the most popular, not that I'm ever trending, is that I am consistent, I am authentic, and I am focused. And so as a result of that, as I evolved as a man, my desire to engage and impact became more and more connected to my own failures.
Yeah.
And so my failures as a husband, and my evolution as a result of that in finding new love and having new opportunity made me want to help brothers not do the same messed up stuff I did.
Yeah.
My failures as a father and my opportunity to be a new father at 40 versus a new father at 26 gave me all kind of insight and wisdom to what I didn't know when I was 26, 27, 28, 30, 32 that I wanted to share. And so, you know, it has really, Aaron, just been a reflection of transparency. And it was also, I got tired of people thinking that all I did was talk about politics and read books.
Yep.
Because that's limiting as hell. I'd be at the club and cats want to talk about politics, man. I'm like, yo, let me buy you a drink and chill out. So part of me developing Man Cave was because I felt like I had become a prisoner of my vocation.
Yeah.
And
hold on, you got to tell them what Man Cave is. You can't just skate over Man Cave.
Yeah, no, Man Cave was a show that I created and brought in Steve Harvey to co-executive produce with me, and we had a good one season run on BET, and they didn't see value in it, but we were able to really do a proof of concept. And actually we're in really serious talks with 2 outlets about picking it up before COVID hit. So it was just a brilliant opportunity. Myself, Tank, fantastic producer named Cosign, and a just ridiculous, hilarious dude named Slink. All of our own experiences into what I thought was probably one of the most authentic reflections of Black men on TV. And that was with BET not allowing us to go as far as we wanted to go. But Aaron, that show was really a graduation day for me of sorts, because it allowed me a space to be able to be stupid, to be smart, to be serious, to be funny, to be ignorant, and to be brilliant without diminishing any of those other parts for me. So I had, that was a long ass winded answer.
Yo. I'm about to come for you because this is when you know, with all due respect, that you become an OG in the game. Because I watched an interview with you that you did last week, and you gonna get this. You just John Lewis me, man.
I don't know how I feel about that though, man, because
man, you started the interview off with John Lewis, and you asked him one question, and you said, I only have like 16 minutes.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I know this one question can take
I own that. I did just do that. I thought you were giving, listen, because John Lewis, man, I feel like everything he says, he includes Martin Luther King and the MS. Like if that dude is at McDonald's, he's like, can I get the MS Pettis Bridge special, please? And the Martin Luther King shake. And you gotta love that brother, man, because he is what he is.
Hey, real talk, because even in that interview, man, real talk, his pivot is so strong, man. I mean, you asked him about Pizza Hut, and I promise, man, he went straight back to the day that he marched. But I said, when you're an OG like that, you can do that, and it's with all due respect, and you just let it flow.
So I promise that will be the longest answer I give in this interview, brother.
No, man, that was all love. I mean, you said so much. You know, as it relates to like fatherhood, I'm thinking about because you brought up the man cave, and I was thinking like, this topic of fatherhood, you know, was it broached on the man cave? And you know, even if I know some stuff is still in the works or could still be in the works, but I mean, how do you see fatherhood elevating to a platform like man cave? Because quite frankly, I love content about fatherhood. I eat this stuff up. I mean, you dropped it online, somebody else dropped it online, I'm watching it about fatherhood. But I feel like we have this sector where it's like, yeah, we want to put out strong positive images, but how do we still, you know, resonate in a ever-changing culture? How do we stay relevant? How do we stay entertaining, engaging? And that's one of the challenges that I see in this space. And if I hear one more brother say, yeah, I started this because this wasn't out there. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, this all I see is fatherhood content. So in that context, like, what do you say to that?
No, listen, man, one of the biggest problems of being a institution deficient people is that when two cats do it, we think we're competing, or when we don't see it, we don't believe it exists.
Yeah.
And so the question for each of us in the content that we create is, what's the impact? What's our desired impact? And so I don't think that the content that you do is the same that Brother Sean is doing with the Dad Gang, which is same as, you know, another brother may be doing. Number one, we all are speaking to different audiences. And while we might, you know, anytime a brother implies that he's competing, that's a brother that I know doesn't have 20/20 vision. So I think that multiple streams of content can exist at the same time. There's a endless appetite for content. And the question is, how do each of us make the content that we do so universally super serving to a target demographic or psychographic that we're able to justify the differentiators between what we are bringing and what everybody else is bringing?
Yeah.
I think a lot of fatherhood content is lazy because they just say fatherhood content. Well, it's 18,000 different kind of dads, and there are tons of different needs. So there are some brothers that constantly talk about, we want to change the narrative of fatherhood.
Yeah.
I think is interesting because that ultimately means you're not talking to dads, you're reflecting dads. There are some brothers that say we want to serve dads, which means the content creating is for dads.
Yeah.
And it requires a whole nother level of intentionality and research, because now what you're talking about is how are we elevating dads' knowledge. Then there are some people that say, well, we want to create a community for dads, which is a whole different piece, because now you're talking about curating content where brothers are able to exchange information for the purpose of mutual value. So I just named three, right? Yep. I didn't talk about divorced dads. Yep. I literally have a company that we're launching before Father's Day that is, and I feel comfortable saying this, that is literally about how do we provide a certain service for evolving dads.
Yeah.
And evolving dads for me simply means who are brothers that recognize that no matter what their fatherhood experience was, that theirs is different.
Yeah.
And the evolving dad is one that simply says, I'm attempting to be a father that I never had, no matter what my dad was. Like, I think that there's this narrative that cats that had their dads are all of a sudden in some way, shape, or form infinitely dudes that didn't.
Yeah.
Because having a dad looked 15 different ways too, right? So I think that to answer your question, that we have to be very specific about what is the I think to win And winning for me is impact.
Yeah.
I have to be specific with ourselves about what is the impact we want our dad stuff to have.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just doing dad stuff. I'll talk to dudes all the time that when I ask them what's your proposed impact, they can't tell me.
Yeah.
They doing it. That's problematic for me. Because how do you know if you're winning? How do you know what the return is? So I think one is about, do you have clarity about what you want your impact to be? Mm-hmm. And that impact can be social in nature. That impact can be communal in nature. That impact can be financial in nature. And none of that's wrong. Just be clear about what it is. Two, once you're clear about what the impact is, now you can be clear about what am I creating in order to produce that impact, right? And then three, who am I trying to speak to with this content to produce that impact? Because there are dads who, I call them dads ripe for reform.
What's that about?
I don't like using the term deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
So dads ripe for reform need a whole different segment of content than dads who are in a place where they're active and they're trying to constantly define and evolve their activity, right? So I'll stop there, but I think that impact, then demographic, psychographic, then strategy are things that I don't think a lot of brothers are even answering. Yeah. They're passionate about being dads and they creating stuff. But and I think that's great as a first step. But if you don't then do those other things, then you can't be mad when either you're duplicating the 13 other people that are out there doing the same thing, or that your stuff's not landing the way that
Yeah, man. I think, listen, it's so funny. This always happens somewhere along in the conversation where, you know, I'm trying to drive a point and then somehow I end up getting schooled at the same time, because I mean, there's so much I can take away from that. You know, at the end of the day, what this Fatherhood is Dope platform is about, I say it all the time, and that's amplifying the voices of dads. And I had to find a fine line of, do I take every picture, make every post with my daughter? Or at the end of the day, at the core of what my daughter was the inspiration to create a fatherhood platform. But for me, Aaron is still showing up in a way where, man, I mean, at the end of the day, I believe everyone has a story to tell. And one of the things I want to do is to bring stories of fathers to the forefront. And that happens in a myriad of ways, whether it's from a cerebral approach of, you know, philosophical principles, etc., to, hey, this is like what happened when I learned how to change a diaper. And so for me, you know, doing this, you know, I didn't invite your kids onto the platform. Being a father is what qualifies you to be here. But when you talk about understanding your lane, and so this is kind of a note to say, hey, I think I know what I'm doing here. And then for the part of me that I do know what I'm doing, to my listeners, is to say, hey, this is why you're here. And that's to hear dads' voices on creative, innovative ideas, talking to Jeff Johnson about, we're going to get into communications and being an executive TV producer and being a father of 5. So for me, it's about showing that dads walk in multiple lanes, not just taking cute pictures and posting them on social media. And there's a space for that, because we need that. And women love to click on those pictures too.
Oh, they do, bro. They do. And I think those things are incredibly important. I know that as I develop content, I don't want to change narrative. I want to change men.
That's good.
Because I think you can change narrative and men not be changed.
Yeah. Which
is even more dangerous, because you're changing a narrative without providing the tools and resources for brothers to evolve. Yeah. Now brothers are being held accountable to a higher narrative without the tools and resources to reach that narrative. Yeah. It's kind of like Obama got elected and folks started running around talking about, yeah, now my son can believe that he can be president. I'm like, yeah, hold up for a second. son still go to a school where the majority of kids can't read in the 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no pathway currently financially for your kid to go to Harvard. And like, so there's some real systematic shit that's in the way before you start talking to your kid about becoming Obama.
Yeah.
And that doesn't take anything away from Obama, doesn't take anything away from your kid, but now you've created a narrative without creating the pathway to produce what he had to be that, right?
Yeah.
So that's big for me, brother.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Listen, I got a personal question, man. So as a brother who is seasonally bald, and I got a situation happening under this hat right now, and I just saw you in DC not too long ago with an amazing head full of like salt and pepper hair. That's exactly how I envision mine to be. And then you show up just like a couple of weeks ago and you decided to shave your head. And so just brother to brother, man. It's somebody who I hope to grow my hair back, one day. And so I'm just trying to see what got you to this point.
Well, listen, man, after having locks for 15 years and then cut, I am probably more hair liberated than most brothers because everybody told me not to cut my locks.
Yeah.
Because that was my quote unquote brand. I'm like, yo, if my locks are my brand, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
So that was liberating. Number one was cutting my locks. When I wasn't balding locks, and I'm trying to save myself from being that dude that got the one lock that's still hanging on.
I hate him coming, man.
2, the second liberating place was when Man Cave was canceled, and I knew that I would probably never intentionally do something on BET again. I've been dyeing my hair for 10 years, man. Wow. And I finally got to the place was like, listen, I'm not on a network where the average age is 15.
Yeah.
And so I'm about to stop dyeing this hair. That was another moment of liberation, where I'm totally showing up as me, aesthetically, right? Yeah. And I'm glad I did that because there's a whole lot of dudes that got forced to do it because of COVID. I'm glad I was ahead of the curve. So I was like, yo, I've been thinking about, let me just cut my hair off and see what it looked like. Cause every brother is always worried about what's my bald head gonna look like? Do I actually have the head for a bald look? Yeah. And I wasn't, but it was like, listen, it's COVID, man. If I cut it and it looked crazy, I don't have to be seen to grow back. And I cut it and I liked it. And
you think you're gonna
I might, man. One, it is for a lot of cats that have never done it. It requires more intentionality than I had originally thought. And I researched everything before, so I got my product. I researched a bunch of razors and am I going to do the straight razor? Am I going to do the blade razor? Am I going to do the electric razor? And I've been testing them. But yeah, man, I like this look. The bottom line for me, man, if my wife likes it,
listen,
then we good. You
stealing my thunder, man, because that's the question.
Then that's the only problem. So she says she likes it. I'm not sure though.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to gauge, does she like it or does she love it?
Yeah.
The kids love it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the kids a little bit, man. So you got 5 kids. #college. No, is it crib to college?
College dad, brother.
Crib to college dad. Let's talk about that, man. Is there a meaning behind it? I mean,
it's in a crib and kids in. It's not complicated.
Listen, and see I'm the dude in the club want to talk politics now. What you mean by crib to college dad, man? What's that about?
I got Garvey, who's 1.5.
Yep.
I got Baldwin, who's 3, and then I got the major jump to Malcolm, who is 17, Miles, who's 18, and Madison, who's 21.
Man, that's beautiful. I mean, you got kids all up and down the spectrum. and I'm interested to know, like, what's that dynamic of, when I saw you in DC, you had Garvey, you had Baldwin with you, and then you
Yeah.
have a daughter who, Madison, just turned 21, is in college. Like, what's the dynamic like on a day-to-day basis with you, just in parenting in general, whether you're doing that, whether she's remote off in college or, walking into the nursery, changing diapers and warming bottles?
Yo, bro, I realized very clearly that love is infinite and energy is finite.
Yeah.
And I am emotionally exhausted on most days because I have a wife who I really like. Like, I like her a lot. And so in liking her a lot, I am intentional about ensuring I'm emotionally available for her to like me back.
Yeah.
Any brother that's married, I don't care who your wife is, that's work. And it's great work, but it's work. And then I got baby energy that is requiring a certain level of intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
I've got oldest girl energy that is requiring a certain level of intentionality. And then I got teenage boy energy, which is just problematic stupidity.
Naturally.
Oh, no, dude. Like people talk about, Jamal Bryant is one of my dearest friends, and he got 5 girls.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly talking about, yo, dude, pray for me. I'm like, no, I got 4 sons. Pray for me, because boys are stupid.
Yeah.
And don't get smart till 30.
Yeah.
Girls are smart. They might be emotional, generally speaking, but they're smart. And so I got 2 dudes that wake up every morning like, yo, what's some stupid shit I can do? Right. so they're good kids, man, and I love them to death. But so I am failing every day to meet one of those energy needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my work schedule, because of my own indeficiencies, because I may just miss something. And I had to tell Miles and Malcolm in particular, as my teenage sons, I said, y'all are at the greatest disadvantage, because Madison is an incredibly expressive young woman who will call daddy and be like, Dad, I just want to holler at you. We have our date nights once a month where I'll fly down to Atlanta, where she's a Spelman, and we'll hang out. She's incredibly communicative. She enjoys a lot of the same things I enjoy. So we have some real fusion around conversation. I'm hard on my boys. And so they automatically think that means I don't like them. So I'm constantly reassuring them that I'm pushing you because I want the best out of you, and because y'all Negroes want to be famous more than you want to be great. I got to keep reminding you that if your greatness doesn't lead, whatever fame you might get is going to be short-lived.
Yeah.
And so the babies, as soon as I walk in the house, is daddy, 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 daddy. The only reason Baldwin hadn't come down here is because he's taking the same nap that your daughter is taking right now.
Praise God.
So they are on 1,000. Yeah. So I got 2 age boys who at times I'm trying to remember, can they speak English? And I'm like, y'all are at the disadvantage because there are going to be times where you need me that I miss it.
Yeah.
Because of how you communicate and because I won't always see it. And so I'm trying to be super intentional, Aaron, about acknowledging that I'm going to miss it, so that 1, they don't take that as dad don't see me. And 2, I'm trying to encourage them to know that I'm always available when they need me, even if it seems like I'm too busy. And some days that works and some days that doesn't. But this crib to college piece, bro, is not advisable.
Yeah.
I love it and it's amazing and I'm blessed. But yo, brother, energy is finite. And as a result of wanting to be a present father, I cannot understate that giving energy to 5 children on a daily basis and a wife while running 3 companies and trying to be a fully functioning man is tough.
Yeah, man. You know, you said a lot there. I'm pulling my note up real quick. I hope brothers really man took note of that. You know, it's one of the reasons my wife just finished grad school, and now I'm like, listen, if we're gonna have any more kids, let's go ahead, let's knock it out, let's be done. Because as cute as it is, and it's adorable, man. You got crib to college. That's amazing. You got 5 amazing, beautiful kids. But at the end of the day, and I think a lot of men are really conscious of that energy component that you spoke of. So,
and the expense,
which is a whole nother story.
it's like,
which is why you have 3 companies.
Yeah, because they cute, but they not cheap. They expensive.
Jeff, let me take you here real quick, man. This the only deep thing. It's not even really that deep, but this is gonna push you just a little bit, because I was watching your interview with President Obama, man. I miss him. I know, and he said something in your interview, and I'm quoting him here. He said, "A country's conscience sometimes has to be triggered by some inconvenience." And when he said that, it resonated with me when I think about a lot that's happening now. I mean, COVID-19, the pandemic being the big one. This could seem like it's jumping over the place, but even the lynching and the shooting that just happened in Georgia. And so when you have all of those dynamics going on, I'm kind of just looking for a general response, because I know you're in tune. I know you're probably, I don't know, were you on Ricky Smiley today?
Yeah, I was actually on with Brother Ahmad, Aubrey's dad.
You see what so, and you're right in tune with that. So I'm delayed a day on Ricky Smiley. We don't get it here in Nashville, but I go back and I listen on the app. So with all of this going on, man, and we have the former president saying that a country's conscience is triggered sometimes by inconvenience. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What can you say to that, pertaining to dads, pertaining to us as people in general?
Wow. That's a complex question, and so I'll try to answer it as simplistically as I can. There is a real opportunity in this moment to embrace the truth that quarantine and social isolation forces us to accept. Men in particular, and Black men, I think especially, have culturally and I would say negatively been defined by our vocation and how much money we make. And as a result of that, when our vocation is disrupted, and in some cases our earning potential is jeopardized, we are now in places where everything we've used to validate our identity is now inconsistent. And so I know dads who would consider themselves present fathers, who now realize how not present they were. Mm-hmm. And because keeping busy and making money and putting food on the table justified the sporadic and inconsistent nature of my presence. Yep. Right. And now that's gone, and you sitting there looking at your kids like, whoa, what you be doing with your mama? Like, we don't watch Moana 55 times. What are we supposed to do now? That's so true. I think it's a beautiful thing in the best case, mm-hmm. because most of us have been indicted and be like, yo, I gotta up my game and redefine what fatherhood is for me in a way that will transition beyond whatever the next new normal is. And so I've even had to plug into my calendar during the day the specific times that I have the younger kids. Yeah. And that my wife whether she's doing stuff for her business or just looking at the wall, has her time. Because in the beginning, man, I'm business as usual. I'm acting like the nanny is here and they going to school and all of that. So yeah, bro, I epic fail for me the first 2 weeks of COVID.
Yeah.
And thankful that my wife gave me enough grace to say, excuse me, sir, can we have a conversation?
Yeah.
Because you are making me feel like I'm raising these kids by myself.
Yeah.
While you in the house.
Yeah.
So I think, brother, I think that there is a beauty to the Forever President's quote, which speaks to our opportunity to either embrace the truth for all that it is, because truth is not good or bad. It's just truth.
Yeah.
To embrace the truth of this moment for what it is and allow ourselves to be convicted, allow ourselves to be inspired, allow ourselves to be intentional, and allow ourselves to be consistent about who we want to be on the other end of this.
Yeah.
As men, as fathers, as partners. I literally just wrote this article because I think your point, I don't want to miss this point, because we talk about fatherhood a lot. One of the crazy things about the fatherhood movement is that we literally have some of this fatherhood content that acts like dudes who are fathers exist in this bubble where it's just them and their kids.
Yeah.
And it's like whether you married or you or you single, the fatherhood movement has been like, yo, this is like a separated membership. Like this fatherhood is membership for dads and kids. Yeah. And it's a mama over here somewhere. We ain't really gonna talk about her, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yo, listen, my wife hates that. And she wants everybody, she told me, I need to make sure folks know you ain't no single dad out here.
No, it's real, right? You know? And so let me drop this one on you. I think the other piece in this moment for dads, especially if you are with the mother, is remembering that she is mother, woman, lover.
Mother,
partner, lover.
Yeah.
Whether she's a wife or not, or a girlfriend or significant other, however you define that is up to you. But she is mother, partner, lover. Mm-hmm. And that if, as brothers, if we're not intentional about feeding each of those, then we risk losing one. And as dads, it's so easy to just see mother because our lives have become so much about the kids. Pick her up, do this, feed her, change the diaper, do this, get her to bed, wash the clothes, tired, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Wake up, do it again. Yeah. But in the midst of that, there's a woman over here who has her own dreams and aspirations and visions that, while disconnected from me as her husband and these babies as her kids, is not in opposition to her family. Mm-hmm. But independent of that. Yeah. And so, brothers, we forget to feed that in the name of having expectations of who she's supposed to be as mother. And then sometimes we'll get to the place where we feed and partner because we'll support her business, or we'll be like, you know, baby, I got you this today, or let me get you this spa trip, or, you know, go hang out with the girls. But we ain't squeezing that booty. And we're not finding new ways, especially when, straight up, Aaron. Now,
that's real. That's real.
Especially when her body is different than the body that you got with her with.
So true.
Like, man, you got to find new things to worship on that body. Yeah. That she often is thinking you don't like. Yeah. Because of what she was before this baby. Mm-hmm. And so, man, we got to feed all of that, man. Like I am gangster, man, about being situationally inappropriate in my house. Yeah. Like, where she got to be like, the kids is watching. Like, it's their fault I got to do this in the kitchen because I don't even own my bed no more.
Yeah. Man.
So
brother, thank you. Thank you for permission.
He ain't gonna. And when I get, we got 10 minutes. So it's like, bro, man, listen, but no, man.
That's
I think in particular, because that's the question you asked, gives us a real opportunity while we're still to elevate your appreciation of the mother.
Yeah.
Rediscover new things about the partner and search with aggressiveness, new stuff to get turned on by with the lover. And if we can do that in this moment, bruh, we can come out of this period in relationships that are infinitely more complex than they were when we came in.
And all that you said, my soul tells me that the average brother is going to walk away with getting it on in the kitchen with 10 minutes to spare. And if he can walk, but check this out. If he can walk away with that 1 point, then bless him. Because
you're going to win.
Exactly. You're going to win.
The wash is, man, you can be like, because first of all, your kids don't never want to follow you to go wash no clothes. How old they are. You be like, mommy and daddy about to go fold clothes. Good, man. You good for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that out this week. Hey Jeff, listen, you've been so generous with your time, man. Listen, I'm so appreciative. I don't want to abuse your time, but it feels so good, and I definitely enjoying this conversation. You know what we do to land the plane. You've been in this business for a while, man. It's that question. So what's next for Jeff Johnson?
Oh man, I got a lot going on, bro, and I'm excited to roll a couple of weeks. So
let me ask this. So is it your hope that you get Man Cave back on television or a streaming platform somewhere?
Uh-oh. Here they come.
Yeah, let them come on in.
Baldwin. Garvey. Come here, Garvey. Come here, Garvey. Come here. I want you to be on this podcast with me. Are you coming? So yeah, man, as Garvey is coming. Yeah, man, I would love for Man Cave to be on, but I'm not wed to it. I've got a production company where we're pitching probably 15 ideas right now. Dude, hey, come here. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here and say hi. Nope, you running from me.
Not today. I see him on Instagram.
So yeah, so I would love for come here, boy. You say hi?
Hi, Garvey.
Say hi, Mr. Aaron.
Hey, you so handsome, man.
Thank you. You say thank you? Say thank you. All right, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Pound explosion.
Oh, y'all pound it.
Pound explosion. All right.
I love it, man. Aaron is gonna be so mad.
Yeah, listen, if Man Cave came on, it'd be great. If one of these other 15 shows that we're selling with and without me as part of it would be great. I have a company called JIJ Impact that I shut down my communications firm because I wasn't having the impact that I wanted to make. And that was the impetus for shifting to JIJ Impact, where I do really focused consulting with several companies. And then I'm launching not only the Evolved Dad piece that I mentioned to you, but literally this week, you're going to see a ton of behavioral health content that I am actively involved in, specifically focusing on Black men. Yeah. And so I'm talking about, we doing some crazy curation of content that I can't dive totally into right now.
Okay.
But remember the words Men Thrive.
Man, thrive. That's easy. I got it. I'm locked in. I'm locked and loaded. I hope y'all locked and loaded too. Ladies and gentlemen, I made it through a whole podcast episode without reminding you to subscribe to the podcast, download the podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. Fatherhood is dope. Yo, Jeff Johnson, I cannot thank you enough. Sir, Jeff Johnson, man, I'm a huge fan of what you do. Side note, I can't wait to, you and your wife, you all need to do the relationship piece again on IG Live, because we pulled up. I mean, we had y'all streaming on the big TV. It was kind of tough because, real talk, and you know this, that y'all was competing against D Nice that same night, man.
So, and it early in the D Nice days too, man.
Yes,
so
it was when D Nice was D Nice. on Instagram. So we had y'all up on the TV. We had D Nice on one of our cell phones, man. But that was real sweet. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Fatherhood is Dope, the podcast. That's my guest, my special guest, Jeff Johnson. This is Aaron McGee. Make sure you download, subscribe to the podcast, and we'll be right back here again for another episode here really, really, really soon, man. Y'all stay tuned. Fatherhood is dope. Peace.